Good morning, kids, and welcome to another video of Fox Flicks on Connie X. Today, we're going to be questioning what if the Digimon Adventure Partners evolved completely differently than what they did before, i.e., what if they had different Digivolution lines? Let's hop in.
Digimon Adventures Evolutions. We're all used to them now, right? Agumon becomes Greymon, then Metal Greymon, and War Greymon. Very different to the VPET style of evolution, where evolution is very branching. Instead, one consistent line, adding or subtracting themes as they go along. But what if these set-in-stone things were fundamentally different? What if instead of, for example, in Digimon Data Squad, instead of Gamon's boxing gloves becoming more like big red arms, they actually focused on the boxing element, and he digivolved into something like Kangaroomon? What if Digimon Evolution in anime didn't have alternates, didn't have additions, but was fundamentally different from the get-go?
Well, okay, now you got me interested. Let's check this out.
And hey, real quick gamers, no sponsor on this video, so instead I'd love it if you checked out my new Patreon. After some consultation on YouTube and Twitter, it seems most people would prefer to support me on Patreon. YouTube currently takes 30% of all channel memberships, super thanks, etc., whereas Patreon only takes 5%. So while I will be keeping channel memberships on this channel and Khan E Extra, I'd love it if we could move both channels to a centralized Patreon with more rewards. There are currently 5 reward tiers on the Patreon, and the Deva Artbringer tier, as well as the Sovereign tier, are related to custom art videos. To try and reduce the amount of sponsors we have to take on the channel, the Deva tier on Patreon will each directly pay for a piece of custom art. So at that tier, as well as any other tier, you'll be directly helping support custom art videos, more ambitious Digimon videos, and the ability to give back and showcase other members of the community. Devas and Sovereigns will be credited in videos, specifically detailing which piece of custom art they paid for, and will receive high quality versions of the custom art for them to look at their perusal via Patreon. So if you consider supporting that Patreon from as little as $3, less than the price of a coffee, it would really mean the world and help me be able to make more independent content, not shackled to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you. What is up, Digimon companions? My name is Connie X, and welcome back to another video. Originally in January, I was planning on doing a bunch of compilations of past previous art. I might do that January 2025 now, but instead this has become experimentation month, where I'm just going to keep doing experiments of new video ideas or series that I want to revisit. And this one came to me in a dream. Actually came to me while I was watching Have a Word podcast, shout out to the Lids. And I was thinking about Digimon Evolution. Like I said in the intro, Agumon becoming Greymon, but what if a different element was focused on? I'm not going to use it in this video, but as Agumon is tied to Courage and has Pepper Breath, what if the anime ties partner Agumon digivolve to Flare Rizamon instead? Or like I said in the intro, Gaomon becoming Kangaroomon. Still blue, has boxing gloves. There's an argument you could make that that's a better Digivolution than Gaugamon. I like this idea of taking an element that maybe gets lost in the traditional evolution lines and preserving it for new, different Evos. I'm also not going to necessarily force a Digivolution to be different from the rookie in this video. There's a couple of ones where I think the champion has a better or more interesting theme, and I want to make the evolution different from there. And we begin with Agumon. Yeah, that'd be honestly, I think Cyclomon would be a fun evolution for Agumon, both big yellow lizards. Cyclomon almost feeling like a dark side to Greymon in many ways, though in my head canon, Cyclomon would be what a furless Gabumon would digivolve into. So I think it would be lovely if, much like Digimon Survive, Agumon could also digivolve to its original evolution of sorts, Tyrannomon. Greymon has been an Agumon evolution for a very long time, but Tyrannomon was kind of pitched more so as the Agumon evolution. In fact, we still see that today in things like the Digimon card game, where they canonically digivolved all of the Digimon card game rookies on the promotional art, and they gave Agumon Tyrannomon. So the TCG continuity Agumon becomes Tyrannomon. I wonder if we'll see that in Digimon Liberated. From there, you could keep a similar echo line to Metal Greymon and War Greymon, having it become Metal Tyrannomon and maybe Rust Tyrannomon, those ostensibly being Tiger's Agumon's evolutions. But I also think it'd be fun to diverge and do something like Master Tyrannomon becoming Gaiomon. Still a War Greymon variant ostensibly, but connected to Master Tyrannomon being a master of combat. And also, if we had a Gaiomon, we could keep adventure continuity moments like our War game, but instead of regular Omnimon, they could become Omnimon Zwart, with Gaiomon being the Greymon sword in this instance. Then we got Gabumon. It's always been a little sad to me that Gabumon doesn't get to keep his horn from Sunomon when it becomes the Garurumon line. Similarly to Agumon, I looked at the original Digital Monster V-Pets. Agumon got Tyrannomon, but I didn't really like any of the Digital Monster version 2 Evos for Gabumon, even though it would be nice to use something OG. If we are going to zero in on the horn, I could really see Dream Mogimon as Gabumon's champion. It's an OG Digimon and would do a similar thing to Garurumon,
Maybe.
merging the pelt Gabumon wears into its body, making it an actual third creature, but gives it a horn, a drill theme. Sunamon to Gabumon to Dromogimon I really like.
You don't know,
Even
that
Gabumon's
fits
more
now.
rounded
I
body
see
I
it.
think translates nicely to Dromogimon. Keeping the drill theme going from there though is a little trickier. I'm not going to use Digimon because I prefer armors to be around champion level in terms of power, and because Digimon is a 0-2 armor. Don't want to use armors in the adventure continuity and complicate things for the 0-2 continuity, you know? I do really like Jaeger Darulamon as the Evo. It's got drills, it's wolf-like, it feels like a good evolution of Dromogimon, and honestly there's nothing else that keeps horns going as well as
You know, he's right. I could actually see that. It's a bit of a stretch because of the sudden shift from blue to yellow, but it's not too big a shift.
Jaeger Darulamon at the ultimate level. And the Mega could be Breakdramon. I don't know if I love that though. It doesn't make the idea of Omnimon's Wart impossible for Tai and Matt's partners, but if we're going from Jaeger Darulamon, we could also possibly use Rasenmon, which is covered in drill-like spikes, and is dark and animalistic enough, as well as having projectile attacks, to believably be in the dark Garuru canon of Omnimon's Wart. So why not? Gabumon will go Dromogimon, then Jaeger Darulamon, and finally Rasenmon with a horn-like protrusion somewhere on its head or upper body at every stage. I didn't have a lot that I loved about Palmon. We're quite limited for plant Digimon. It would end up just being different for the sake of it. However, Togemon, I think, produces some interesting ideas. Instead of the flower blooming into Lilymon, what if the spiked cactus punching became the theme? Now, unfortunately, we can't Digivolve into Togemon X or Ponchomon, really, them both being equivalent to Champion again. But a really good ultimate level would be Blossomon. It has a green, thorny body, and the boxing gloves could become the hand mouths for more physical attacks. And from there, well, the Mega could be Hydrasy, almost creating an inverse to the beauty of the original line. The dark side of beauty, maybe connecting more to Mimi's vanity and the bad things she does in Adventure. Digimon evolutions don't have to be as intrinsically tied to the character as I like to make them. You know, there's not like an amazingly good reason. You could probably make something up as to why Palmon becomes Togemon through its partnership with Mimi, but it's still fun to add that layer. Or, yeah, Ceresmon Medium, Lotusmon, Refleximon, however you prefer to end it, but I'm going Palmon, Togemon, Blossomon, Hydramon. Then over to Beamon. This one was really simple to me. I've always been a little bit disappointed that when it becomes Birdramon, it gets all this fire element. It's ostensibly engulfed in flames. Then when it digivolves to Garudamon, it just kind of extinguishes the fire. The fire's more internal. It's used for special moves. And then again, for Phoenixmon, there is a fire-related element to the Phoenix, of course, but it's not on the outside physicality, which is why, since Digimon Links, I've always wanted to see Sora's Birdramon digivolve to Lava Garitamon and Volcanic Dramon. How sick of a line is that? And it also continues to be a Dramon species, which is another thing that I was disappointed Birdramon loses when it becomes Garudamon and Phoenixmon. Tentomon. I always felt that the knowledge side of things was a little bit lacking in these evolutions. Not that it is essential, but if you look at like Greymon, for instance, it's always got fire throughout its evolution line, tying to the Crest of Courage. Metal Garurumon gains an ice element, which is one of the components of the Digi-Egg of Friendship in 0-2. I guess the theme of knowledge is just bugs. Bugs are intelligent, or you analyze bugs. A bug collector, for example, would be a bit of a nerd, so I kind of get it. But I thought it'd be interesting instead to digivolve Tentomon to Ballistamon. Two Cross Wars Digimon that work. Interesting. It has some steel and robotic elements, which you could tie into the idea of things like tech geniuses, the cutting edge of technology, robotics, things like that. And it also has these round little yellow eyes, which stick with me. As this Digimon's intelligence rises, it learns mystical powers too, digivolving to the little round yellow-eyed Wisemon. We don't know what's under Wisemon's cloak. Maybe it does have a gross little insect body under there. Maybe it's got some robot parts too, who knows?
Honestly, I'm gonna say that's a little bit of a stretch, Con. No Wisemon.
Ending on Ancient Wisemon. I mean, you could say that Izzy is a computer wizard, and then you get this really cool cohesive line that transitions from beetles and bugs into supreme intelligence, wisdom, all connected through their eyes. Tentomon's less so, but Ballistamon, Wisemon, and Ancient Wisemon very much so. And Ancient Wisemon even connects to Ballistamon, as it is the ancient warrior of steel, and Ballistamon is made of, well, steel among other metals. I really like this one. This is what basically inspired the video. Gomamon, nice and easy. In the adventure continuity, Gomamon gets a lot of fur. He becomes Ikakumon and Zudomon, before Vikemon in Tri, although Plesiomon in some continuities. And I want the alternate branch to just focus on the aquatic side, not the defending itself from the cold side, not becoming a warrior. I want this to be a swift swimmer like Gomamon and his marching fishes, so it will digivolve to Dolphmon, then
Holy.
Waymon, and finally Plesiomon. I don't like talking about Digimon's sleek bodies, but that's the unifying theme here. Right,
I get
Patamon,
it,
what
I get
if
it.
he wasn't an angel? Dun dun dun! I want to keep this Digivolution more like Patamon and less randomly humanoid and angelic. Now you could consider my armor evolution idea of
he's right.
Pegasusmon to Tylinmon to Godramon. But again, trying not to use armors, trying to make this an adventure video. Or we could use Unimon, who was originally a Patamon evolution on the original Digital Monster V-Pets alongside Centaurmon. In fact, Angemon wasn't even on the same V-Pet as Patamon originally. It was on the Gabumon/Elecmon V-Pet. And Unimon is still kind of referenced as a Patamon evolution to this day. In the original Heaven's Yellow starter deck, Unimon is one of the champion levels in that deck. I think this horse theme is a possible reason why Pegasusmon was made the Patamon Hope armor in 02. A bit of a callback to Patamon originally becoming Unimon on the original V-Pets. From there, Unimon could digivolve to a traditional route of Hippogriffamon, keeping the quadruped theme and introducing something that looks kinda holy, although really it's just a white bird, and ending on something like Griffomon, which I don't love for Patamon, but does work. Or we could go back to where we began and use Tylinmon as the ultimate, and then Kentaurusmon. Make Patamon a Royal Knight for once, and don't reuse Godramon from 2020. I really like that. And then finally, for this video, I will do Adventure 02, Mako, Willis, all the kind of extra ranges of Digimon Adventure in a different video, is Gatomon. Again, I'm going to try and make it less about angels and focus on the holy element in a different way. Trying to keep cats or cat-like, more animalistic vibes going, which again I think is why Nefertimon was the light armor in 02. I've been fond of Baihumon as a Gatomon Mega for a while now, but of course I want to look at Salamon and Gatomon here. Both have holy rings, which interestingly Racielmon also has, so I'm actually kind of into that. However, that is Makomon's Mega, and this is the Adventure continuity, not the Adventure 2020 continuity or anything else, so I'm not going to use Racielmon in Gatomon's line. It just seems very unlikely. But while not holy rings, a rival to Nefertimon is said to be Bastemon, who does have rings on her tail. This would be fun. Kind of a compromise between keeping the cat elements but being a bit more humanoid. Then the Mega could be Ancient Sphinxmon, but overall I think that makes the Crest of Light turn a little bit too dark. What I think I'd actually settle on is Salamon to Gatomon to Katoramon, a holy Deva, and then finally Baihumon. Though a really out there pick I do want to say really quickly, Piximon is digivolved from Gatomon on the Pendulum V-Pets, and there's something I find really funny about Salamon to Gatomon to Piximon and then Marine Angemon regaining its holy ring at the end. Just a fun evolution line, even if Marine Angemon isn't technically related to Angemon. But I also see great validity in Gatomon becoming Piximon, then Magnadramon. That pink third element being in the middle there, it actually really works nicely.
Yeah, but if you know anything about Piximon, you know that thing is small. Like, it's maybe the size of like a softball in the real world.
As I said, I didn't mind keeping some Digimon the same in these evolution lines, so if you don't want to use Baihumon as Sovereign in the Katoramon line, you could also just put Magnadramon on the end of that line too. Alright, that is my idea for what if the Digimon Adventure partners digivolve differently, focusing on a different trait or element of their physicality, or something else. Let me know your thought of this video in the comments down below. I had a ton of fun making this. If this does like 1,000 likes, 20,000 views, I'll definitely do a Tamers follow-up, and then maybe go to Data Squad 02, see where we go from there. So, you know, make sure you like it if you liked it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Shoutouts to my sovereigns, ZDK14, Jamon, and Mickey D343, as well as everyone else who supports this channel with their hard-earned money. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye-bye.
Well, folks, that's going to be the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all you folks next time when we flick on. Peace out.